everybody, coming to you live outside in Fort Stockton. We're leaving our motel. It was a good room, except for this morning when someone was smoking outside our window and it was all drafting into the bathroom. That was kind of a big negative. I'm not a big fan of cigarette smoke. It makes my asthma flare up. So I'm still coughing, so apologies for coughing. Gotta get it out of my system. But we're on the road again. We're headed to Temple, Texas for the night. Yesterday we were at Big Bend National Park and it was absolutely amazing. Way too hot for myself and my dad. But we struggled through it. We had a cool stop at the Mule Ear Trails. We did a little bit of that to see the mule ears, and then we went over to the Mesa pour-off where when it rains it all comes down in a waterfall, so you could actually walk in it because it's a dry wash. So that was pretty neat. I can't remember the name of the mesa off the top of my head.
There's Our Lady. She can't get in?
I guess she wanted to make sure we were done before she went in. And then we went back up to the, I'm drawing a blank on the overlook names, but the place where my dad watched Haley's Comet with his mom in the 80s and watched the sunset, the raining of the sunset, and then we did some observing with our binoculars, which was pretty cool. We got to see part of Scorpius's tail that's kind of hard to see where we are in Pennsylvania very prominently. We also picked out Andromeda Galaxy and Butterfly Cluster. We didn't want to spend too much time because they had a really long travel time from Big Bend to Fort Stockton in the dark. So at least we got some observing. It was quite interesting though leaving the park though, because we had border patrol follow us for a long time, and then there was a guy who decided to pass both of us. The speed limit was like 70 miles an hour, but with the animals running across the road, we were going maybe about 55 steady. So the border patrol guy was following us for a bit, and then this guy comes out of nowhere and passes both of us. And my dad and I were like, why isn't he going for him? And then what happened when we got to Marathon?
The guy was pulled over.
Yep. Oh, look at that flag. It says wanted for president.
We were being dogged by that border patrol car for miles.
Yeah, that
It was at
eerie.
the exit of the park.
So I don't know if you thought it was interesting that we had all our car full of stuff from observing and such, and that's why he followed us, or it's just protocol. I don't know.
I don't know. He came up close. He shone a big bright light on us at one point, and then he came up close to us multiple times.
Yeah, and then he'd fall back. It was really weird.
It was kind of creepy, actually.
So that kept us awake on the way up here.
So we're firsthand experiencing the out-of-control border that the politicians and bureaucrats have created.
Well, we were on US 3.
We're on it right now, but I believe we're also, I don't know. You might be right, thinking about it. 285 is the one we were on the other day, so I think you're right. It was 385.
385. As soon as we got out of Marathon, we were on 385. Like I don't know what the distance was because we were tired, but
3 mile or 2 or 3.
there was literally a table with chairs, 2 big water coolers that you would normally see at like a sports game. I don't remember how many gallons they hold, but they hold a lot. And then there was a big giant trash can, and some of the stops had porta potties.
So that's 285 going south towards Sanderson. So narrow just on 385 north. So yeah, it was 385 north out of Marathon that we were seeing that every so often. We must have seen a half a dozen or so.
And some of them were just random porta potties that like there'd be 4 or 5, maybe 6 at some of the locations, or sets of 2. They didn't always have the tables with them, but sometimes they did. And then you saw one at the end, which would happen to be the last one. It almost looked like it said something along the lines of like last call or last one. And we didn't see anything because then we started seeing entrances to ranches getting closer to Fort Stockton. So we suspect that that's a traffic en route and that those are stops for them to stop to use the bathroom and
there was a flatbed truck with a whole bunch of porta potties on it.
And they're all different colors.
And we were seeing a lot of these porta potties along the middle of nowhere, essentially, on this highway north of Marathon. Just along the shoulder or back off into the right-of-way a little further. So, to me, that tells me, if you're a Texas resident, that your state government is involved in this operation. They're facilitating it because they're allowing this stuff along the highway right-of-ways. So, there's been rumors about Governor Abbott being involved in it, and I would say that we saw some confirmation of that last night.
Yeah, for sure. I can't believe they let them do it.
I guess it's all part of the catch and release game that gets played, and then they give them comfort on the way. So it must be I don't know, I didn't think there was such a busy route, but maybe it's an alternate route from El Paso. I wouldn't think too many people are climbing over those mountains at Big Bend.
Yeah, that's brutal in the heat.
But yet we had Border Patrol following us for 30, 40 miles. Wondering what's going on. So let's see, we need to go this way. We've got a strategy to avoid Interstate 10. It should be an adventure.
Yeah, it definitely made the drive not feel so lonely last night.
No, I was worried about spook lights in the dark and creepy things in the desert, and here I'm more worried about what this Border Patrol guy is going to do with us.
We were like expecting a booby trap, honestly.
I expected to be pulled
and then
over.
we get to the Border Patrol station, and it's like sleeping. Like it says, stop if it's flashing, but it wasn't flashing, and like all the lights were dimmed down, the cones were out, like to block it off. It was really weird.
It looks like I'm getting on Interstate 10 the wrong way.
It does seem that way.
Is it going up the off-ramp?
But we actually cross it at least.
Our goal is eventually to get to US 190. That's going to be our route of preference for the next couple days. 190 starts east of here, 20, 30 miles. So we're going to be finding our way to the beginning of US 190.
Oh, I forgot to ask you, what was the mileage this morning?
Yeah, I'll give you the book.
Is this the starting mileage for today?
Yeah, well, the finishing mileage for yesterday.
Yeah, so that's starting. So we're at starting mileage today was 3,222.9 miles for the trip. 462,619 on the lifetime of the car.
I keep forgetting to measure how far it is to home,
I don't think we want to know yet.
but it's pretty far yet. It's over 1,000 miles. I would guess around 1,500 right now.
Well, Google's not going to go the way we're going.
Well, that was just fine.
Oh, look at the view on the left.
It gives you an idea. If you needed to get home fast, how far would it be?
Because today's day 15 of our road trip adventures.
2-week anniversary.
I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, yesterday I kind of felt sick after the hike, so I don't know if I had some heat sickness.
I suspect you did.
Because my stomach did not feel good at all.
Spectacular hike, though.
It was worth it. I mean, I was drinking a lot, but I guess I wasn't drinking enough.
I've been to Big Bend a couple of times, but there's so much to the park. And I didn't do a lot of hiking because both times I was with my mom, so she wasn't into hiking.
And the one time you were there to observe Haley's comments.
Yeah, so most of the time was in the park at
Night.
at dusk or at night. Yeah, then
Sleep during the day.
you go back to your cabin and sleep the day, and then wait for it to cool off before you go back to the park.
Yeah.
go into the Burro Mesa pour-off wash, whatever that's called downstream. I remember hiking in there a little bit. It was one morning after being up on the vista, watching the stars all night, because it was still cool. So I went and did that, and then went back to the cabin. But as you saw yesterday, going anywhere in Big Bend is a process.
Yeah, it is. Nothing's close to anything. I mean, some of the overlooks are fairly close, but to get to more civilized spots, it's a drive. It's this object.
And there's essentially 3 big routes through Big Bend, and we only did part of the one. We didn't go all the way to the end, because that was a Santa Elena Canyon.
Yeah, part of that road was closed, from what I had read.
I think the first time I was there, the canyon trail was closed for some reason. And then maybe it was the second time I was there. You have to cross Terlingua Creek to go to the canyon. And then this time there was some issue from flooding. So we're going to stay on this road that parallels Interstate 10 until Route 385 splits off of Interstate 10 and continues northeasterly. And then we're going to pick it back up at that point. So we've been on 385 since we left Big Bend National Park. Played cat and mouse with the Border Patrol, so it seemed. He was playing cat and mouse with us. And then there was the human trafficking facilitation facilities along 385 from Marathon to Fort Stockton.
Yeah, that was eye-opening.
And now there's the...
We saw the glowing windmills at night, too.
Yeah.
They're all blinking red. Giant red lights.
Now we're doing this segment of interstate highway avoidance. Got to stop for any off-bound traffic here. Oh yeah. Turn the fan down a notch. It's going to be another scorcher here in West Texas. It's supposed to get into the 90s again.
At least there's some clouds today.
Yeah.
Make it a little less scorching, hopefully.
It's struggling to stay cool. Ironically, we'll get back to Pennsylvania and we'll need heat.
That's gonna be a temperature shock to the system.
Because that was one of the neat things last night. We were up on top of Soto Vista in Big Bend National Park, observing the stars, and we're in summer clothes and comfortable. And I said to Gwenny, if we were at Cherry Springs State Park tonight, we would be freezing probably.
Yeah.
Because we've been up there in October.
You'd be using hand warmers, wearing your winter layers, your winter woolies, as my friend likes to say. All bundled up.
And here we're just sitting in chairs like it's summer.
It's so much drier, though, with the low humidity. So it's not like you're getting wet by dew either. Whereas back east, we get a lot of dew. So that makes you feel even colder when you're wet.
And it stayed hot almost to sunset, so there really wasn't a lot of relief from the sun, from the heat. But unlike back home, you don't get into that evening period of time where it cools off and it gets what we call muggy. It cools off to the dew point and you just feel really sticky. So you figure, oh, it's going to get cool and pleasant. It just gets muggy. Here it actually gets cool.
There was a breeze, too, which was nice.
And it gets pleasant. Just bring your own water. Lots of it.
And snacks. Bring snacks. I think part of the reason I probably got sick yesterday with the heat was I was frying like almost all the way there in the sun.
Yeah, you were getting the sun on that
So
side
like
of the car.
I was already
hot, that short bit of the trail to the Muliers that we took
Oh, that was roasting.
to the first rise.
That was worth it though. It was really cool. Furthest south I've ever been. Closest I've ever been to Mexico.
Looks like we're flaring fuel here on the left.
Is that what those are? Huh. Yeah, it looks that way.
You would think we'd figure out a way to recover that.
Seems wasteful.
Is energy still too cheap that we just burn it off? I don't know.
Walking in the wash was difficult. It was like walking in a gravel bottom. It was kind of like walking in sand, hard sand.
Yeah, and it was flat. Definitely looked like you were in a creek bed.
Yep. You can see layers of where the water goes, like how high it goes sometimes, and also what I thought was interesting was the appearance of what looked like nature's concrete, where rocks were inside other rocks, and it just looked kind of like someone put nice rocks in concrete, but it was everywhere. It was in the canyon walls, like the mesas walls and stuff, and like in the creek canyon, you know, like it almost looked like flows in some spots, like it was flowed down.
Well, there definitely was, was volcanic activity in those rock layers at one time, so that might have all been created in that process. A geologist would know better than I would.
Because we looked at some of the rocks and they did have that volcanic appearance that we saw with the Valley Fires in New Mexico. With the lava flows. Remember how we saw the
Yeah.
rocks? So we did see evidence of that, so it could be related.
The Ripley effect.
Yeah. And also like the porous effects where it looks porous, like the tiny holes in the rocks.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call that, but I'm fascinated by geology and paleontology and just all that stuff has always fascinated me. That's why it was really cool when we visited that park in Illinois where the two rivers converge. Where we actually saw fossils because the water was so low in the beds. So that was neat.
Yeah, it looked like fossils.
You could even see clams buried in it that were clearly been there for at least a while because it's all hard. Like it's in the rock and everything is hard. This feels really wrong. Like we're going the wrong direction with the highway being like right here.
Yeah.
It's just such a weird sensation. What is the speed limit for this road?
I don't know.
I can't say I've seen a sign, but I might have missed it.
Mississippi. We were in Illinois at the park. Then we crossed into Missouri.
And then it was Arkansas.
Then it was Arkansas.
I think Arkansas is where we saw some clouds.
I know when we got into Oklahoma, that morning was cloudy. So did we run into the cloud bank?
Oh yeah, you're right. Oklahoma was cloudy when we woke up because we were seeing the cloud bank the night before, traveling there.
Well, when we crossed from Arkansas into Oklahoma, I'm trying to recall. I think it might have still been sunny.
It was, but there was clouds forming that it looked like it could storm. Because remember, the lady at check-in said, "I'm surprised it didn't rain because it looked like it was going to storm." But then it didn't. It was very windy because I remember we were fighting the doors with trying to get our poster board out for trying not to damage it for the solar eclipse.
Yeah, we were gonna.
And the doors were trying to get us.
Yeah, we were gonna try to set it up, but it was too windy and too late.
It's too windy, and then it wasn't sunny. So.
Yeah, that too. So we basically didn't set up the poster board to the night before the eclipse in the park in Hobbs, New Mexico.
That worked out good though. We had plenty of daylight and it was a nice dry run and it was right before the eclipse, so I thought that worked out pretty good.
We were having that beautiful stretch of cooler weather.
Yeah. It was only in the 70s. It was gorgeous. Because that was part of the cold front that came in.
It's already 88 degrees here. Well before local noon. Taking our alternative to Interstate 10, running concurrently with the US 385 North. There's another road we're running concurrently with too, since Fort Stockton. Another US route. Nobody coming that way. That's the on-ramp.
I know, but you never know.
Here's an off-ramp we gotta watch out for.
Oh, look at that bridge. It's all graffitied underneath.
Yeah. Interesting way to go, isn't it?
Yeah. That graffiti bridge was kind of interesting back there. It's a really one car wide bridge.
Now we can see signs. What's the other U.S. route? 67? That's the one we're also running with.
Yeah.
So there's the exit for 385, so we'll be able to rejoin it shortly.
And then we get to stop to see the fossil dinosaur.
Yeah, you found that on the map last night.
Yeah. Some people said it wasn't that great. Some people said it was amazing. So I guess we'll find out. But since it's on the way, might as well. We'll look at the rock outcroppings. We're on top of it. They're driving through it.
Yeah, they cut the road down. So we're looking east.
It's much flatter than it was yesterday.
Interstate 10 will take you to Houston, which looks very different than here.
You said it's going to get a lot greener as the day progresses because we're going to get to areas that have more water.
I think so. The state highway map shows some of that. I think one of the maps I was looking at.
Yeah, I'll pull it up when we stop for the dinosaur tracks. Oh look, there's the old windmill. And it's spinning.
And there's the water tank for it.
Yep. They use it to pump it up.
Pumps it up. All the details.
I'd be curious to see how all that works.
It's got to be some mechanism
big birdie.
down in the well that pumps it up with the rotation of the windmill.
Oh, there's windmills. Speaking of windmills, there's a ton of them on my right. Those are probably the ones we saw last night glowing.
Yeah.
It says there's a 1-lane road ahead. Just so you know.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
I just saw the construction sign. I don't see anybody on the right.
All right, so we're back officially on 385 along with Route 67. Been on 385 since we left Big Bend National Park.
One of the things that I also recommend is bring bug spray. I left mine in the car and I kind of regretted it. So I got my legs eaten up yesterday at the trail.
On the way out of the park at night, there was just this little sign that said marathon 80 miles to the left.
Thank goodness we didn't miss that.
That was the only indicator of the way out.
We got to see one of those little piggies that you can see in the park. That was cool.
Some kind of a small hog, right?
Yeah.
It's running across the road at night on Route 385. That was north of Marathon.
Yeah, I forget what they're called. It's in the brochure, but I packed it away.
I see an oil pumper up there on the left.
I do too. I thought I saw one in the distance. Well, we also saw some of the mice run across the road. I'm guessing some of the desert rats because they were bigger. They were plumper. And then we saw a mule deer eating along the side of the road. And I'm guessing those other 2 deer I saw were probably mule deer as well. They definitely look more like donkeys, the heads, than deer from Pennsylvania. Very mule-like, I guess. That's probably why they got the name. So, it's like what we're used to at home. One squirrel. They were different colors, though. They were more brown than at home. At home, they're more gray. I don't know what color the jackrabbit was because I missed that one. But you said he had the long ears, which is kind of how you identify them. Well, one of the cool things at the wash yesterday, like walking in it, is we saw those 2 big crow-like birds. And we could literally stand still. We hear absolutely nothing but the bird's wings flapping. And then when he would glide,